Thank you. Thank you all for coming, and welcome to episode 42 of Jackman Radio. Good time, yeah. Hey, how about Bob Phillips, everybody?
Yeah,
huh? Come on, let's give it up for Bob Phillips. All right.
That was great. And in case you're wondering, yes, Bob is the one Uber driver in Peterborough tonight. He looks the part. So we decided we wanted to finally do a live podcast in front of an audience. We usually just do one where it's Mike and I and booze or beer. But we figured in lieu of that, we'd have an audience. So we're really grateful you're all here. So we called the show Into Oblivion for a lot of reasons. But the obvious one is the poster. Who saw the poster for the show?
How about the poster?
How about that poster?
That was designed by our friend Jason Burmis of We Are Change Media. And he saw the vision. I mean, there was no stopping Donald Trump. There's only surviving. And I think we're doing.
I think we're managing.
We're going to talk
so
a little
far.
bit about Donald Trump tonight, right?
Yeah, he'll be with us a little bit later, though.
And a little housekeeping here. We want to thank our sponsors, Harlow's Pub, one of the sponsors. Which, as Bob mentioned, that's where the after party is going to be. So we got. Harlow's and Hobbs Brewing Company is also one of the sponsors. Hobbs Brewing, thank you, Hobbs.
Good.
You know, leave it a nice vice to fund our night, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Help, yeah. So they're going to be pouring samples and hanging out next door at Harlow's after the show. So, you know, we'll be there.
So around here in New Hampshire, I know most of us are here from New Hampshire, and this could be a phenomenon that's happening around the country. But, give me a round of applause, or give me some noise if you recognize this, Dollar General.
Oh. Yeah.
These Dollar Generals are popping up like herpes at the Olympics. I mean, they're literally everywhere, and it's like these things get built in about a week. You see a sign, coming soon, Dollar General. Tomorrow? Really? And you go tomorrow, and they're already built the next day. But there's something weird about these Dollar Generals, because every time I drive by one, I work up in Caine in my low-energy day job when I'm not an all-star comedian. And there's a Dollar General I drive by, and I say, Mike, this is a rule of 5. Every time I drive by, there's 5 cars in the parking lot. That math is solid. I'm not very good at math, but I can count those 5 cars. So it's gotten me thinking, these Dollar Generals are not, no one really shops there. I mean, you're going to tell me that Dollar General, you can't get the same thing at the dump for free, with Dollar General. So my theory kind of goes along with the show Ozark. I'm kind of waiting for this guy to show up, Jason Bateman. Any Ozark fans in the audience?
Yeah, that's okay. Ozark. Ozark's a great show.
So I'm just waiting for Jason Bateman to say, hey, I'm starting a cool store. I was on Arrested Development. Now I got a store. I got to clean some money for the cartel. So we're going to open up a Dollar General. I got to clean $2 million for the cartel by Wednesday. You're going to cut my fucking head off.
It would be really good if you could help me with that.
So that's probably what's going on with those Dollar Generals. Either that or the Clinton Foundation's using them to clean money from Russia. I don't know. Or Trump, maybe.
It could be. So do we have any Robert De Niro fans in the house? Yeah. All right. I like De Niro. I like him too. But I will tell you something you guys might not know about. I dug this nugget up. So Robert De Niro accuses Donald Trump of stealing people's land and kicking them off their land and out of their houses. And guess what? Robert De Niro's doing the same exact thing. So last fall there was a hurricane, last September, Hurricane Irma, down off of a little Caribbean island called Barbuda. I don't know if anyone's ever been there or heard of it, but it was a really nice place. And I stumbled across this story. It's not really something you see, in the press at all. But basically, the storm happened, and it damaged or destroyed 95% of all of Barbuda's buildings and infrastructure. So, huge disaster.
Total disaster.
Not a fun time. And so the people who live down there are accusing De Niro of being part of a backroom effort to swoop in there and basically steal. Well, I mean, he paid like pennies on the dollar for the land. So he came in there and, got up all the land. And, basically instead of making good movies anymore, he just steals people's land. That's kind of...
Entire islands.
Yeah, he plays, rectally challenged grandfathers. He's doing one more mob movie. And so it didn't really get a lot of news coverage, but I imagine the jingle is going to be Aruba, Barbuda, ooh, I'm going to steal ya. They're thinking, hey, it's good. You guys, you can come back. You can come back in. You can work in the kitchen. You can stir the gravy. You can get the cannolis. I'll get you a signed copy of Meet the Fockers. Everyone's going to have a good time. So, yeah, check that out. And, you want to...
And then De Niro, this latest movie he's made, this is totally believable. De Niro, he's like 108. Al Pacino, he's 106. He's a little younger. Look at those platforms. Look at those Lady Gaga platforms that Robert De Niro is wearing. He's playing a hitman who's supposed to be 6'4". So that's Hollywood magic right there, right before your very eyes.
So De Niro is 75 and Pacino is 77. Oh, I haven't shut my eyes in 45 years. We're doing another mob movie. We got to break out of the nursing home. Me and Bob are going to get our pills. And we're going to make some backroom deals and stomp some motherfuckers. Hey, that's pretty good. You know what the sequel's going to be? We're going to be breaking out of the cemetery. So, hey, it's going to be good. I'll tell you, Heat was that was it. If you've ever seen Heat, that is a masterpiece. I do love that movie. I do tear up a little bit at the end when Pacino, spoiler alert, Pacino has to put De Niro down. But, so that's neither here nor there.
It's like a dog you got to put down. He didn't want to do it, but he had to.
And he should be put down.
And Val Kilmer's here in Heat.
Yeah.
His ponytail.
I know.
He's beautiful.
It is. It's nice. He had a nice ponytail. Yeah.
So part of our show and experience we wanted to have tonight with you guys was talk about the New Hampshire primary. I know some of us have voted in the New Hampshire primary. It's a very important thing. Well, we think it's really important. I mean, on the outside, people are like, wow, there's 200,000 white people who think they're so cool, and they're following politics, and they're going to dictate what the rest of the country's going to do. And, I think we do a pretty good job at it, Yeah. Because Iowa has their little caucus out there. I do this signal to the caucus, And I like to say that Iowa picks corn and New Hampshire picks presidents. That's what I say to Iowa.
Yeah.
And
no.
Yeah.
Iowa picks corn out of New Hampshire shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's good.
So I went and wow.
Hey, Barbuda, I'm gonna take you.
So I actually spent some time in Iowa. I went there twice, and I think all they have out there is corn and 70-foot billboards of newborns saying, "Thank you for aborting me, Mom." Or not aborting me. Thank you for not aborting me. Sorry.
Well, you botched that one like a third term.
Yeah, I botched that one. That was a botched abortion, my bad. But so Iowa's a weird place. I mean, you think we're white. They are like the Beatles' White Album out there. They are a triple album of whiteness out there. And they're an interesting bunch. They either milk cows, go to church, or go to football games. That's pretty much all they do in Iowa. But during the 2008 primary, I worked for this guy, Senator Mike Gravel. I don't know if anyone's going to remember him or recognize him, but he was a really interesting guy. So there's a picture of him. He was in the United States Senate from 1969 to 1981, and he's originally from Massachusetts, but he did the biggest carpet bag I've ever seen in political history. He moved to Alaska, was in the real estate business, and went out there with the sole purpose of becoming a senator, and he actually did it. So, it took some balls to do that. And in 2008, he reemerged. No one had seen him or heard of him in like 30 years. And he was on the debate stage with Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and John Edwards. Remember John Edwards? I cheated on my dying wife when she had cancer and had a baby with my videographer, John Edwards. That's the truth.
That's not my baby.
Yeah,
that's not my baby.
That's not my baby. But
hey, we voted for John Edwards, and full disclosure.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 04.
We voted for the Bonesman Carrie Edwards.
Skull and Bones,
2004.
John Kerry, and pretty boy, soy boy, John Edwards.
He's lots of soy.
I love that term, soy boy. John Edwards is deaf, a soy boy.
Yeah.
But Mike Gravel was a badass. So they let him on the stage because he was a U.S. senator. He had that swag, and no one knew who the hell he was or what he was going to say and what he was going to do. And the first couple of debates, he was 77 years old at the time. This just cranky, bitter, wound-up old man is in the corner, just scolding Hillary and scolding Obama. I remember they were talking about nuclear weapons, and he went, "My God, Barack, who the hell are we going to nuke, Barack? Who the hell are we going to nuke?"
I'm not planning on nuking anybody.
And that's what Obama said. I'm not. And then Gravel was like, "Well, good, we're safe for now." So I knew the guy didn't have a snowball's chance in hell at winning. But I figured out how to get in touch with him, and I ended up becoming his driver and body man all around New Hampshire. And it was just an amazing experience. I knew they were going to let him on the stage maybe a few more times, so it was just so fun to see him kick Obama in the balls and ball tap Biden and punch Hillary in the boobs. I don't know if he did that, but so Gravel was amazing. So I'm driving around. He's a 77-year-old man, so it's basically like driving your grandfather around. But I knew I would learn some things from him. And he's like, "Let me tell you, Eric. There was." Try not to sound like Trump. Every impression I do ends up sounding like Trump. My God, I was doing a forum out in Vegas, and there was this porn star hosting it. I said, "Oh, really? Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that." I said, "What's her name?" Her name was Nina Hartley, and I had never heard of her. So we Google imaged her, and there she was with a mouthful of some guy's cock. Oh my God. I just heard my grandfather talking about blowjobs with porn stars. This guy's awesome. So we had a fun time, and I drove him around New Hampshire with my good friend Justin, who's here, and it was just a surreal experience. And we drove him to one of the last big debates up at Dartmouth that Obama was at, and Hillary and Biden, and it was fireworks. And I was in Senator Gravel's car, and after the debate, Obama, they let him out first, because he was the anointed one, the special one. And Obama walked by, I had the window down, and I said, "Hey, Senator," I wanted to show my hands because he had about 12 Secret Service agents around him. Like, I'm not going to shoot him. I said, "Hey, Senator, good job, man, pound it." And he pounded it. He's like, "Yeah, we had a good time. It was a good debate." And he just went on his way, and I'm like, that guy is going to be president. That guy's going to be president. So Gravel's still alive. He's going to be 88 in May, and I had a great time working on his campaign.
Yeah, and you want to go to the next slide? It's more Gravel, I think.
Oh yeah.
So he's turning 88
in May.
88 in May. He's still going, and we kind of got a warm relationship with him, and you could tell the closeness because every time he'd see us, he'd be like, "Good to see you, but my God, you're huge." Eric, you're handsome. You have great hair, but my God, lose some fucking weight. It's like, good to see you, Grandpa Mike. I love you, man.
I said, "Mike, you're still an old bastard." Yeah.
And he's waned a little bit in recent years, but one of the most notable things that he did a couple years ago, he was paid $20,000 to address a group of ufologists to say, yes, there are aliens, and yes, they are watching us. Check, please.
And a historical note, one of the more historical things about Mike, he read the Pentagon Papers into public record in the 70s. So if we think of WikiLeaks today and government disclosure and cover-up, someone leaked the Pentagon Papers to him who worked at the Pentagon, and Gravel had the balls to take them, and he knew he might get arrested, he knew he might go to jail, and he read them into public record, and that was kind of one of the big things that led to public support really turning against Vietnam, and he also filibustered the draft. So we can thank Mike Gravel that we don't have to get sent off to all these nonsense oil wars. So that was another reason I was really drawn to him. He had a lot of courage, and he was a real breath of fresh air.
Someone else a little less energetic.
God.
Oh, boy. Low energy Jeb. That stuck to him like a tattoo on his forehead. I mean, didn't it? Look at low energy Jeb. What can we say about Jeb? I mean, we were kind of cutesy with him. I mean, look, we got the Jeb exclamation point buttons. And we had a good time with Jeb. We saw him probably like 4 times.
4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times. And, he actually kind of looks more like Will Ferrell playing Bush than Will Ferrell looks playing Bush. If that, does that make any sense? He legitimately looks like Will Ferrell, and he kind of acts like him too.
He's a goofy bastard.
He actually might be a little more funny than Will Ferrell at this point, but
yeah,
that's neither here nor there. So, we saw Jeb on one of my off days from work. I went up to Caine. I had a nice question for him. Basically, in a nutshell, so he was governor of Florida after he helped throw Florida for his brother in 2000. In 2001, 9/11 happens, and Jeb shows up to Huffman Aviation, which was one of the flight schools where several of the hijacker pilots actually trained at down in Florida, which was run nefariously by an illegal Dutchman. If you can believe, it was a Dutch guy running the flight schools, and all these, Saudis and Arabic-looking dudes show up, and they only want to learn how to land. Nothing weird about that. And so Low Energy Jeb was friends with the financier of Huffman Aviation, a gentleman named Wally Hilliard. And 9/11 happens. None of us can fly. None of us could hop on a plane and fly. Low Energy Jeb shows up in a C-130 down to Huffman Aviation the day of the attacks and takes all of the files on these hijacker pilots that trained at this air school and loads them onto a truck and then drives the truck onto the plane and takes off for Washington, D.C., and no one's seen them since. So I'm like, wow, I'm going to go meet Jeb. I wonder what I'm going to ask him about. So I asked Jeb the question, and he was like, I mean, look how low energy he is. He's like, that's a stupid question. I don't know. That's bunk. I don't know where you got that from. I said, well, I know a journalist who talked to the pilot, so I don't know what he got to say. Well, I mean, it's interesting, but it's totally false. It's not true. It's totally not true. I was at Disneyland on 9/11, so you can watch the videos out there. If you guys want to see it, I'll send it to you. And I got to be honest. After I did that, because I don't do the activist stuff so much anymore, man. I'm not really young and idealistic as much. But that was fun. And for a couple weeks afterwards, I was legit concerned that like black helicopters were going to like show up at my house up near Monadnock, But it never happened, and I'm still here, and Jeb's not president, so hallelujah.
Lyin Ted. Lyin Ted Cruz. What can we say about Canadian Lyin Ted? If a picture says 1,000 words, that says 1,000,000 right there. I mean,
this was in Peterborough. This was
the next building over at the town hall. This is why I freaking love the New Hampshire primary. So I'm mental enough that I started dressing like Trump. That in itself, I need to be shrinked on that. But then next level, I start trolling the other Republican candidates and going to their events dressed as Trump. So it's bad enough they're going to be on the debate stage with Trump, and then they think they're safe. Oh, Ted Cruz is like, oh, I'll be able to fly to New Hampshire, get some time away from Donald. He's a bully. Donald's a bully. Just last week, Donald Trump said my father was involved in the Kennedy assassination, and he said that my wife had a flat ass and small tits.
I'm not normally in the business of endorsing people like that.
So I went to Lyin Ted's event, and I was behaved. I knew that maybe I would get thrown out or they wouldn't let me in. But if you go to these things and you just behave yourself, they can't really throw you out. I had all the cops laughing. The cops love this shit. They eat it up. They think it's hilarious.
Actually, the cops in Peterborough see him. They say, "Mr. President."
Yeah.
That happens here in Peterborough.
That's real.
No shit.
That's real.
And we live on the same street as the police station.
Yeah. No, I see the cops. I go, I love our police. I gotta wait for that. I gotta joke about that later.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So I show up to the event and I wait in line. Cruz's people are looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? What is he gonna do? And I go up to Cruz. I'm in character. I don't break character. And there's like 100 people from the press taking pictures, eating it up. And I go, Ted, you didn't really have a great night in the debate the other night there. If you drop out of the race now and endorse me for president, maybe I'll make you ambassador to your home country of Canada, maybe. And Cruz looks at me, he goes, So we posed for the picture, and I could tell his staff, I was like, get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. So that was cool. That was a fun moment, and a lot of people retweeted it, and it's just something you can do here in New Hampshire. It's really special. You can be involved in politics, but you can do it on your own terms, and if you want to make a point and just troll the thing, you can show up to an event dressed as Trump, and you won't get killed. You won't.
Switching gears, one of my favorites. I mean, how good is Michael Caine, right? When you need someone to sell something, just get him or Morgan Freeman to narrate it, and you're good, It's going to be okay. The needle's going to go in your arm, and about 20 minutes later, you'll be dead. You could get him to sell execution. You could get him to just read like an encyclopedia or the hours for air, for plane or travel, and people would love it. But, we've been following Michael Caine's career for a while, and to keep up with the times, his new movie coming out, I'm really excited about it. It's kind of the spiritual sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire. It's 2018. What if I was to tell you that a 78-year-old man who lost his family and has nothing decides to put on a wig and go live with a family in a posh neighborhood in London? Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to love my next film. It's called The Tranny Nanny. suppose that Michael Caine was inspired by a former decathlon who got his bits removed, put on the wig, and went and did the thing, and took care of the family, and they all live happy ever after. Michael Caine. That's my Michael Caine. I'm working on it.
Oh, we love Michael Caine.
Oh, we love Alex
Oh,
Jones.
we love Alex Jones.
Folks, I'm telling you guys, this is real, okay? Hey, I'm telling you guys right now, you need to listen to what I'm saying and buy my anti-New World Order dick pills to keep your heart against the elite. Folks, just the bone broth in this stuff, $39.99 on Infowars.com. You can order 10 I have it with my lunch. I eat it every day with my lunch. I literally can't get enough of this stuff when I'm staring down evil and it's Easter weekend. The Lord does pass through me. I can't even tell you. I looked into Hillary Clinton's soul. She doesn't have one, first of all. And if you elect Hillary Clinton, you're looking at 1,000 years of darkness, folks. 1,000 years.
We've actually met Alex Jones, as you can see, a few times. And before he became Donald Trump's personal toilet, we ran into him a few times. Eric in New York City one time, that was nuts.
Yeah.
At a 9/11 Truth event. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you ran into him at the Republican National Convention in 2016, and that was pretty...
Yeah, so that slide that next to him right there with Alex with the shades on. I went out to the RNC in Cleveland this past election in 2016, and I went out there for the Trump thing to get some press and make contacts and network, and I had a floor pass. So it was a really cool event. So I'm like, I know Alex Jones is coming out here. There's no way he's not coming. He's going to come here and stir the pot, have all his alt-right troll retards with him. It's going to be incredible. And I was on the main street where all the media was, and I started seeing people with that shirt with Bill Clinton on it, and underneath it just says rape on it. So my Alex Jones sensor started going off. Like, okay, all right, that's Alex Jones. He's coming. And I saw these people setting up these signs. Clinton's War on Women was a book that Alex Jones had out. And basically, it was a troll job against the Clintons about all the women that Bill Clinton raped or allegedly raped and assaulted. And Roger Stone wrote it. And Roger Stone and Alex Jones are like, biffles now. They're best friends.
I'm not gay, but let's talk. He's a silver-haired fox, folks. I don't know if you've seen Roger Stone. He's a good-looking man. He's tight. He's where I work out, too. I was at the gym the other day. I just blended a steak. I'm drinking my blended steak with my anti-New World Order foaming agent. And Roger was there. He looks great. Roger's got a great ass, folks. He's got 2 hams on that thing.
So, long story short, Alex Jones shows up with just a freaking mob around him. And one of his bodyguards, I was talking to him, is this former military guy with, arms the freaking size of the mountain from Game of Thrones and, a big beard and, neck tattoos. He looked like a Blackwater dude, a really mean guy. And he was armed and, all amped up. So I was just like, screw it. I'm going to do my Alex Jones impression for this guy. So I do the Alex Jones impression.
I go, you guys are incredible. You got my back. I know the military loves me. The military loves Trump. Infowars.com.
And I didn't know how he was going to take it, and he started laughing. And he's like, dude, I'm going to tell Alex about that, and you got to do it for Alex. So he gets Alex to come over, and I do it for Alex, and he's just barrel laugh, starts, laughing, looks like a gorilla.
He goes, that's pretty funny. You got to come up here and do that in front of everybody.
So I went up in front of this big crowd of 200 people with cameras and did a whole bit as Alex Jones, and it was pretty funny. And then the next day, I met him outside in the convention hall. I was dressed as Trump, and there we are right there. And then
there's Alex right there. These new anti-New World Order people, look at me. I'm like Rambo. That's like Rambo 2, right? That's kind of like Rambo 2. Yeah, that's good. I'll go to Infowars.com.
It's just the rest of the show. We're just
Gonna do Alex Jones.
Now, you suspect, Mike, that Alex Jones is probably an intelligence asset or a
He
shell?
could be, man. I mean, he puts out information. Some of it's I can get behind this. I mean, he makes some really good points, and you don't hear it anywhere else. And then I don't know. He's like, So this happened, and then I saw an 11-foot tall reptilian from Mars. So he sprinkles that in there a little bit.
Interdimensional. These people are so evil, folks. If you've ever been to the Bohemian Grove, you got Henry Kissinger pissing on a redwood tree. You wouldn't even believe what's going on, folks. This stuff's real. I've been there. I documented it. Google it. Larry Silverstein said, pull it.
Alex
So, switching up gears to someone who hasn't been relevant in probably 26 years, really. Maybe 27. I don't know. So, I mean, what can you say about Seagal? You know, he started off as like a pretty lean, serious action star, and you know, from the late 80s through the early 90s, he made some pretty decent flicks, man. Out to Kill, Up to Kill, Down to Kill. You know, those are like pretty good flicks, you know, and he's always running. You ever see him? If you ever see, just YouTube that. So Seagal, like, so there's four eras of Seagal. There's the early street tough, right? You know, where he's running and kicking ass. There's like the pseudo Zen Buddhist bullshit, like, well, I don't really like violence. Pow! I don't really like to fight unless I have to. I don't like to open my eyes either. And then in the late 90s, I don't know if you ever saw Exit Wounds or Half Past Dead, or he's wearing like a do-rag. He's like, yo, I talked to Joey, and Joey told me he don't know what you're doing, but I know what you're doing, and I don't think it's any good. That's the third phase. Phase 4, fucking whore for the arms dealers in Russia. He's over in Russia, like doing like expositions with the greatest living world leader and a close friend of mine, Vladimir Putin. He lives in Russia now. Apparently what happened was he was accused by multiple women of assault and basically rape. So, you know, if somebody accuses you, just blame it on the deep state and move to Russia. Trump might be next. So
Mike, there's Mike right there, dressed as Seagal for our birthday party that we had in October at the Legion in Jaffrey.
That's before I knew about the rape allegations, by the way. I would never...
You would never dress...
That's the finish. I call that the lotus.
Just that last little...
Yeah. Oh. And he does these expositions, right? He comes fucking tumbling out. Doom, 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 doom. He has these dudes who are like 2 feet shorter than him come running at him. He just goes... come on.
Yeah.
Those are really hilarious.
He just
videos.
waddles out. And what's his new move called?
Well, I have a new move that I've been working on. And it's one where I tell my castmate, who's usually 19 years old and 90 pounds and female, I say, we're going to have an audition, and it's going to be in my bedroom midnight tonight. And the move I've been working on is called the whale, where you're lying on the bed and I jump on you. That's the whale. That's enough, Seagal. Hey, anybody like Stranger Things? Let's hear it for Stranger Things, huh? Great show. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. And we were at Rhode Island Comic-Con, last fall?
Yeah.
And some of the cast was there. And we're like, oh, you want to meet the kids from Stranger Things? We were there with our boy Hinckley. And Eric goes, dude, like, think of it this way. Would you, like, ask to get your picture taken with a 14-year-old kid? That's normal? That's kind of...
I just thought it was weird.
That's kind of twisted.
You know, I'm not trying to become a Catholic priest, so I wasn't into that.
Right.
You know? I didn't want to do that.
And, man, it would be cool if we could get someone from Stranger Things here.
That would be cool.
You know? It'd be a lot of fun. Did we invite the cast? We invited someone? We invited somebody to show up from Stranger Things.
Who's here?
Are they here? Where are they?
You hear that? The music triggers you.
That's the MK Ultra trigger.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Hawkins, Indiana, Sheriff Hopper. Sheriff, how you doing, man?
Sheriff?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
You know, we're having a good time. You know, I appreciate you coming out here between seasons. I understand you guys are filming season 3 soon, or
Next month, actually. Yeah, they just gave us an extra raise. You know, me and Winona got $350,000 now per episode.
So Winona doesn't have to steal any more handbags.
Nope.
Perfect.
Nope.
Now, can you just tell me one thing about season 3? Is she going to be like whining and crying halfway through it? Because that's getting a little. Oh, my son Will's in the wall. I could hear him.
I know he's there. I know he's in the wall. I heard him.
No, we're getting tired of that now.
Yeah, that's kind of-
I'm trying to tell her just to shut up now.
Maybe
you know.
86 that.
Yeah.
You know, but so the salaries went up and all the kids are being paid more. And so right now it's kind of tough. I know small town America, there's a lot of bad things happening. What are you guys doing for security at the school in Hawkins?
I can tell you one thing.
Are you arming teachers?
No, we're not going to arm those teachers, no, because we got 11. Because after her little encounter with the Demogorgon at Hawkins High School, she could just take care of the shooter by crushing their minds, just like the bad people. Come on.
Perfect.
We don't need that.
Yeah, you just have 11 posted outside the door, and you could have 7 at the other one, and then 14 at another one, and good to go, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, no problems there.
I know Trump wants to see 69 with Stormy Daniels there.
Oh, don't we all?
So what else do you have to report? What can you tell us about the next season, or what's? Do you guys live inside Netflix and they let you out like every now and again to kind of do appearances and kind of pimp the brand? How does that work?
Well, yeah, that's what I would do. We just hang around Netflix and, like you said, pick our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how is it for you being a recent father of a 13-year-old MK Ultra survivor, triggered, shaved head girl?
It's tough now, you know. When I tell her to go to bed, she will not go to bed.
Right. She could throw something at you without like a stapler.
Yeah, I threw a dictionary at her. She just
Right.
caught it.
Right.
Told her to look up brat because that's what she is. She's a freaking brat.
All right. This bit's probably run its course. Sheriff Hopper.
Sheriff Hopper, everybody.
Thank you. Nicholas Lombardo.
Nice job, Lombardo.
That was pretty good, right? It's a little cheesy, a little, oh, God. Yeah, well,
I'll tell you what, Donald Trump picked him for the mustache ride.
Yeah, John Bolton, man, what a ghoul.
Trump is, he's like your kid that, when he does good things, I think we should talk about when he does something good, and when he does something bad, we should also acknowledge and talk about that, and that ain't good. That is not good. I got a dossier on Bolton here. We're gonna get semi-serious for a minute, okay?
Yeah, because John Bolton, this guy, there is not a country, probably including most of America, that he would not nuke.
He'd probably nuke New York and California.
Yeah.
That might not be. I mean, California, whatever.
Yeah, we have plans to nuke California anyways, and we're bringing Mustache John in to get the job done. We are, believe me.
That's why he originally didn't hire Bolton. When he hired McMaster, he wanted Bolton, but he's like, I don't like the mustache. I don't like it. I'm not going to hire him. Yeah. But, in keeping with hiring right from the Fox News talent pool, he's got Bolton. But before that, he was a member of Project for New American Century, which was a conservative think tank in the 90s, which basically, demanded that Bill Clinton invade the Middle East and get more wars going and, have a tough, foreign policy. And he was the ambassador to the UN in 2005 under Bush. And he was actually so ghoulish that he didn't make it through confirmations for,
They had to do a recess confirmation, so when Congress was, not at Congress where they don't do their jobs anyways, they were home back in their districts not doing their jobs. Bush, essentially fisted Bolton up our asses without confirmation. So he was only in there for like a year.
Yeah, he pushed it through. Some of Bolton's published articles, you might like these. These are some good light reading. To stop Iran's bomb Iran. The legal case for striking North Korea first.
Ask Justin Martell about that one later at Harlow's.
So he could tell you about that. And my particular favorite, how to defund the UN. He actually talked about blowing up like the top 10 stories of the UN. He's a point.
Well, they could film a new Die Hard movie up there.
Yeah. And another point, so a nuclear weapons policy expert at the Federation of American Scientists said this. He's genuinely one of the most extreme, irresponsible, and dangerous voices in the country. So I hope, just keep an eye on this guy, all right? Just, the economy's good, but we might drop some nukes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, like
Maybe.
Trump said, I don't like my nuclear weapons getting dusty. I don't like dusty
He doesn't.
nukes.
He
Okay?
doesn't.
John Bolton's a tough guy, and if some people are barking over in the Middle East, maybe we drop a nuke, maybe we don't, maybe we will. We'll see. We'll see.
One more semi-serious one.
Yeah, what's next?
Oh, God, have you guys heard of this guy?
Slime.
Jeffrey Epstein, man. This
Slime.
is a big story that you don't actually. It's not going to be on the nightly news. They'd rather talk about which porn star Trump's banging this week than this guy. In a nutshell, this guy was convicted of trafficking underage children on his private jet, which was dubbed the Lolita Express, which Bill Clinton flew on. 40. Hold on, I have the number. I have the number here. Clinton flew on it, unguarded by the Secret Service 26 times. So, you know who else flew on the Lolita Express? Kevin Spacey. Ooh, yeah, did not work out so well for him. The interesting one about this guy was friends with Stephen Hawking, Stephen Hawking's, who he built a submarine for Hawking's, and there's a photo of Hawking's down there, like look at the sea, look at the fish, you know. He couldn't move his arm. Why did I do that?
We know Hawking didn't rape anyone, but he certainly mind fucked a lot of people.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I am going to blow your mind. Oh.
So
I just came.
Epstein, though, he hung out with Stephen Hawking, which is cool. But, he had a black book which had, 21 personal phone numbers for Bill Clinton. All these, and Prince Andrew from the royal family was accused. Yeah, he's friends with Trump, too. Actually, what did Trump say about
Jeffrey Epstein? Great guy. Known him a long time. Likes beautiful women and very young. Actually, younger than I like him, believe it or not.
That's verbatim.
Trump said that, so.
He did say that.
Trump's friends with him, the Clintons.
Yeah, just look him up. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
He's disgusting.
He's disgusting. I mean, look at him. He's gross. He hangs out with Woody Allen, too.
He's friends with Woody Allen, so slime like slime. They're just got their snail trail over in New York, just all over the place.
Let's look at something nice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like that one.
What could we say about Stormy Daniels? She should be first lady. You know what I mean? I think she would. I mean, Melania's doing a great job, and you can Google image her naked too, so that's nice. But Stormy Daniels, man, she had $130,000 to bang Trump. I'd probably do that. You know?
Good for her.
I'm not even laughing. No, I'm just kidding.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a nothing story, kind of. I mean, look, every president has had an affair or 2 or 3 or 10.
Yeah. Or if you're JFK, like 100.
Yeah, go a little presidential affair history for you guys. So let's go back. Roosevelt's wife was having an affair with a woman, so she was very ahead of her time. Her progressive politics, she wore it on her sleeve and lived it. So
she was LBGQRS, Z, cis, non-binary in like the 30s.
She was very ahead of her time.
Good for her, man.
Totally, because he was like in a wheelchair. His crank didn't work or something. Or was that the other Roosevelt?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, one of them.
Well, they could mustache ride, but he didn't have a mustache.
That's true. And President Kennedy, of course, had many affairs. Marilyn Monroe, the wife of a very powerful CIA officer named Mary Pinchot Meyer. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. So Kennedy is killed in November of '63. Less than a year later, the Warren Commission report comes out, which was the official lie and whitewash into his removal. And his mistress, who he had a very close affair with, called bullshit on it. She ended up really good and dead, like the next week.
She got dead.
She got dead right quick. Okay? Her diary, I can't even make this up, man. Her personal diary was stolen by some other CIA agents that knew her husband. So that's an interesting story. And I just learned this one. Richard Nixon actually had a boo thing on the side.
Hell yeah.
He did. He actually, it's ironic. He had a little Asian girl that he would visit when he would, go over to China. And as soon as he would get there and derobe, he would be like, oh, I'm really glad we didn't bomb your village. Well, I don't know. He did. He started the EPA. He had great trade talks with China, so we got to give him that.
Yeah,
EPA and Earth Day, right?
Yeah, Earth Day, and he helped open up China with ping pong diplomacy. Just like Trump's going to do it with Dennis Rodman basketball diplomacy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hear it for Dennis Rodman. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman's he's gonna take us back from the brink. And then, of course, Bill Clinton had a number of affairs. They're not even.
I did not, I would not, and I could not ever have sex with Hillary Clinton. Fact. And look into Chelsea Clinton, because I really think that Bill Clinton is not her father. There's a lawyer from Arkansas that we think Hillary was banging named Webb Hubbell. So Google image Webb Hubble because you see that shit. That looks like Chelsea as a guy. I'm not even making that up.
It's not pretty.
No.
So yeah, Stormy Daniels though, this is like trending right now. It's all the rage and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The takeaways that I really enjoy from this story, Trump doesn't like sharks. He's deathly afraid of sharks. They were in the hotel together watching Shark Week.
Oh my God, look at the sharks. I hope every shark dies.
That's verbatim. And he told Stormy that you're very beautiful, you're very powerful and ambitious. You remind me of my daughter Ivanka, which is. And then she slapped him on the ass with a magazine with his face on the cover of said magazine.
Good.
How good is that?
So good.
That's a lot of fun. It's just fun. It's just a distraction.
Into Oblivion, folks.
Nothing's gonna happen with
Into
this.
Oblivion.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of demons, Crooked Hillary is the most corrupt, evil monster to ever exist, believe me. She is. And she's trying to play the woman card, but she can't because she's a man, okay? My people looked into it. I had my people look into it, and she's got a schlong bigger than Ron Jeremy, believe me. She does. So I met Crooked Hillary in 2008 when she announced up in Concord. Those guys are kind of interesting looking, huh? That guy, he looks like a...
Is that Peter Noon from Herman's Hermit?
Yeah.
Looks like him.
Hillary was nice, you know.
Was she?
I don't know, not really.
Ask people in Haiti that.
Yeah, ask the Haitians how they feel about the Clintons.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on Hillary, but I will say this. I don't know if you looked into the Pizzagate thing and that Hillary's people were part of a pedophile ring running children out of a pizza shop in D.C., which I don't think that was true. But I read through a lot of the emails that came out with the DNC. I think they were leaks. I don't think they were hacked because if you've never heard of Seth Rich, who worked for the DNC, you should look into Seth Rich. He was a young guy who was a Bernie guy working for the DNC in Washington. And according to people close to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, Seth Rich stole all the emails from John Podesta, who was Hillary's campaign chairman. And there was some weird shit in those emails. I thought it was crazy until I started reading them and looking into them and looking into the people in the emails. There was some strange stuff. So I'm not going to outright come out and say that it's 100% true, but I think it's worth looking into in all seriousness. And I know it's kind of not a good thing because people who end up looking into the Clintons, they get Arkansided.
Yeah, they definitely do. You end up with suicide by 6 shotgun blasts in the back of the head.
And the body of Eric Jackman, local comedian, was found today hung up on a tree in Peterborough. He was stabbed, shot, drawn, quartered, poisoned, and had high traces of alcohol in his system. The coroner is ruling it a suicide.
They did. Well, there was a coroner in Arkansas who was actually in Bill Clinton's pocket when he was governor in the 80s. And he ruled that these 2 boys smoked 20 marijuana joints, passed out on the train tracks, and then the train hit them. It's like, whoa, that's... I don't know about that one. What really happened was they witnessed a drug drop outside of Mena, Arkansas, because Bill Clinton was involved in cocaine smuggling with Barry Seal, which Tom Cruise just played in the movie, which, I don't know, it's... I haven't seen it, but it's pretty interesting. And the boys were killed. Their bodies were put on the train tracks, and then they got run over. And then subsequently, 7 other people were killed who were connected to that whole thing. So that's just one story with the Clintons.
And just a former pro wrestler just came forward and said he was involved in that. He said he was a bagman for Bill Clinton and some of the cops in Arkansas when he was governor. And he claims, he said this in interviews that's in local press in Arkansas, that he helped move the bodies of those kids onto the tracks.
So, you know, it's not a gender thing. It's just she's just an evil monster and she should just fuck off. Okay? But I'll tell you, there's a few women that who I have voted for and I would like to see president. One of them is Granny D.
Yeah,
Granny D, a
Granny
local
D.
icon. Granny D, 89 years old, walked across the country for campaign finance reform and celebrated 2 birthdays. And let's hear it for Granny D.
Yeah, we love
Granny
Granny D.
is awesome. She, first time I could vote in 2004, I proudly voted for Granny D. I voted for Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, all over the map. But we're not tethered to any party. For us, it's not about a party. It's about who's going to be in there and try and do the right thing, because there's like 100 paid lobbyists for every single member of Congress. So imagine trying to fucking brush your teeth without being lobbied which toothpaste to use. Yeah. You know, it's that type of thing. So Granny D and
Granny
another
was a sweetheart. What's the funny story about your band Northern Stone and Granny D?
Oh yeah, so I'm in a band called Northern Stone, and we did an event that we played at an event that Granny D spoke at, and we played some of our songs, and she died a week later. I'm not going to say it was because the music was bad, but I don't know. She was 100, so I don't know if there was foul play or not, or
We don't know. We saw some people from the Clinton campaign leaving her nursing home, so we can't be sure.
good stuff. And then Cynthia McKinney, we need about 400 more of her in Congress, okay,
Yeah.
to challenge power and get anything done. A big Cynthia McKinney fan. I voted for her in 2008 and met her a bunch of times, and she actually held hearings to hold the government's feet to the fire from the DynCorp scandal, which was essentially government contractors who were basically abducting underage kids in the Middle East and doing whatever they wanted to them. And she actually held hearings about that. She held hearings about the over $2 trillion that went missing from the Pentagon's budget. She held hearings where she grilled Donald Rumsfeld about all the war games that were going on 9/11, and they made them squirm. They got her out of office right quick after that.
Oh, yeah. During those hearings, Donald Rumsfeld had a big pile of steaming shit in his pants.
Yeah. It's on YouTube if you want to check that out.
Really great political theater, and McKinney had so much guts in there, so we miss her in Congress.
Yeah, pouring out for Cynthia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, changing gears. Big music fan. I love the Beach Boys. Any Beach Boys fans in the house?
Yeah.
Few? Yeah. Let's go surfing. So I've had the pleasure of meeting Brian Wilson a few times, one of my musical icons, and this was a great memory from 10 years ago, 2008. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Love and Mercy with John Cusack plays an older Brian Wilson and Paul Dano plays him when he's younger. They do a pretty good job. They didn't consult me on the impression, but... So I met Brian, and I said, Brian, it's great to meet you, and I hope you play Please Let Me Wander. That's one of my favorite songs. And he goes, oh, yeah, that was written by, you wrote it, Brian. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wow, that's a great song. That's a sweet song. That's a great song. Do you know where I can get a steak and a massage? Seriously, he rolls up into town. He just is concerned about, where you can get a steak, a massage, and, a good drink. And that's it. He's not concerned about the set list or anything like that. And another funny story that I heard from one of his bandmates, Brian Wilson was at an award show and talking to a group of people. And Bono, Lord Messiah Bono, approached him. And he's, Mr. Wilson, I love you. I want to adopt a child from every continent and put them in a castle in Dublin. I want to house them all in Dublin. Brian's like, yeah, that's great. Nice to meet you. And Bono's pouring his heart out to him, and Brian's kind of like eyeballing him. And he just goes, can you get me a Coke? Bono's like, sure. And he got him the Coke. I mean, he does kind of look like a waiter, doesn't he?
Yeah, Bono was
He couldn't even be bothered.
Yeah.
Couldn't even be bothered.
Yeah, it was cool meeting Brian Wilson. Definitely pretty surreal. And we went to a bunch of shows with our dad, and our dad lived in California for 3 years in the 60s. So he was into the Beach Boys at the height of their whole deal in California. So that was a cool thing to be able to see him with our dad and have him meet Brian Wilson.
Governor Jesse Ventura. You'd put a governor face down in the dirt?
What can we say about Ventura, Mike?
No, a lot.
I love Jesse Ventura. He was a pro wrestler in like the late 70s and 80s, and then he got into politics, and he ran for governor of Minnesota, and he wasn't a Democrat or a Republican. As Ventura calls them, they're like gangs. Democrips, Republicans. I figured I fought the Predator. I didn't beat him. Arnold ended up besting the Predator, but I could run for office and be governor of Minnesota. And Ventura, he's got the shakes. He hit that mat a lot. Took a lot of chairs to the head. And he said, politics is a lot like wrestling. They all play the heel, and they're bad, and they hate each other when the cameras are running. But behind closed doors, they're all friends. So I got to give it to Ventura, man. He didn't even go to college. He joined the Navy right after high school, and he became a Navy SEAL. He was in the original version of Navy SEALs, which was a Frogman underwater demo. And he's lived a really interesting life. So I had the chance to interview him back in 2015 and spent a couple hours with him in Brooklyn at a really cool bar that my cousin runs. It's called the Nighthawk Cinema. And we had a great chat. He's just a really interesting guy, and he works for Russia Today now, or Russia TV.
Ooh, Russia.
Yeah.
I love Russia.
And And Ventura goes to me, it's some, let me tell you, it's something. I had to get back my free speech from Vladimir Putin. Because they don't let me on anymore here in America, because what I say is not Democrat or Republican. It's independent. So, interesting guy. I like Jesse Ventura. He was in a few cool movies. Predator was cool.
Yeah, Predator was good. What's another big one?
Running Man.
Running Man, yeah. Good guy.
He's a cool guy. I like Ventura.
Okay.
There he is.
All right.
The King and I.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
You knew
just
it was
tell you-
coming.
Let me tell you, everything I touch turns to gold. It goes bankrupt first, but it turns to gold, believe me. Donald John Trump, born June 15th?
Something like that.
Born in June in 1946.
Yeah.
46.
Yep.
He was born in Queens. He came up in Queens, and then he set his sight on Manhattan. He became the king of New York.
Prince of Manhattan.
Prince of Manhattan. Yeah, and I did a great job. Look, I didn't inherit $200 million from my dad. I didn't have a head start. I'm self-made. Everything I did is on my own, okay? Hillary's a demon. Vote for me. So we're going to do a little demo here for you. We got some props for you. Okay. There it is.
The Trump twins?
Yeah, I think so.
Hasn't been done yet.
Oh, man.
Let me just start by saying that Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting.
She's a slob.
She talks like a truck driver,
She's very unattractive.
both inside.
And out. I happen to think that Hillary Clinton is going to make a great Secretary of State. I might be a little biased. I'm from New York. She's from New York. We're friends. So I think Hillary's going to do a great job.
Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State ever. Okay? Ever.
I don't know Vladimir Putin. I've never seen him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never talked to him.
I actually I met Vladimir Putin a couple times at Miss Universe, which is my pageant, which I made a lot of money on that pageant, by the way. Did you see that? All the girls were up there. I personally went backstage and inspected every girl. I said, firm enough. Gotta lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. I think he can do it. Vladimir Putin was there. He called me. We had a great conversation. We 69'd for a couple minutes. Just a couple. But he's a great guy, and I love him.
I'm a great businessman, and I never went bankrupt, okay? Rosie said I went bankrupt. She's lying. I never went bankrupt. Actually, I did, but I use the laws.
Warren Buffett uses the laws. Nobody says anything. Trump does it. Oh, watch out. He's a killer.
New Hampshire is a great state. It's beautiful. Your people are amazing, and I love it.
New Hampshire's a shithole country.
And a drug-infested den. Okay?
Look, it's like he's cutting a cake. Or he's trying to like put towels into a bag.
Our budget's a disaster. We don't beat ISIS. We're losing on trade with China. Mexico on our border. We don't win anymore. When I get in there, we're going to win. You're not even going to believe it.
We are going to build a big, beautiful wall, a lovely wall, and Jon Snow's going to watch it from Game of Thrones.
He is. Jon Snow's. We're going to have a nice, beautiful door in the middle of the wall, and the good ones can come back. They can. They can come back in. They can get great jobs, and they can clean my toilet. They will.
Mr. Trump, you and your daughter Ivanka are very close, and you have a lot of things in common. What's a passion that you guys share in common?
I didn't want to say it, but I'm going to say sex.
He said that. No, he did.
Ivanka is very beautiful. She could model for Playboy, but she won't. But she could if she wants to. And if she wasn't my daughter, we'd probably be dating.
Ivanka's one of the great beauties. Have you seen her legs? I mean, she has tremendous legs, and I've got Vladimir Putin tweeting about her legs, so I have them right where I want them.
All right. The Trump twins.
That was a workshop.
Yeah. The Trump thing is so much fun. I just want to tell a couple of quick stories that I haven't told publicly. So none of us like getting pulled over by the cops. You know, it's not fun. How about getting pulled over by the cops dressed as Donald Trump? That happened to me 3 times. Okay, so the first time I was coming home from a gig up in Dover, New Hampshire, and we were in Milford on 101, and I was just too lazy to take it all off. I just wanted to get home. It was like 1 a.m. I had a couple of beers, but I was fine to drive. I had a taillight out, and we're on 101 in Milford, and I see the blues. I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be good. And it's a really nice female cop. She's wicked nice. She taps on the window, rolls the window down, gets a look at me. Two things. You have a taillight out, and are you dressed as Donald Trump? I don't miss a beat. I never turn this off. I go, officer, yes, I'm Donald Trump. You may have seen me before on The Apprentice, which is a great show, by the way, top-rated show in the world. I'm running for president, and when I get in there, I'm going to give our cops a raise, and you're going to have carte blanche to beat black people. No problem. No problem. Okay. So she started laughing, and she said, it's funny, we saw you at a rally the other day. You're the Trump guy. We saw you. And she's like, the guys back at the station aren't going to believe this.
We watch your videos.
Yeah. So, I did a little more back and forth Trump, and she let me go. She said, just get your taillight fixed. So that was that time. And then the second time was down in Mass. I was hired to do a party for a bunch of really far-left liberal triglets. They were really upset about the election.
Like just after the election.
This was just after the election, so they were really, really sad that crooked Hillary lost and crazy Bernie. How about Bernie Sanders?
I think that all the prime members are probably stolen. They come in here. Hillary Clinton hangs out with Henry Kissinger. I don't hang out with Henry Kissinger. I hang out with Ben and Jerry's. What was your question?
I think Bernie's going to probably run again in 2020. I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be weekend at Bernie's because that guy's a corpse, believe me. So I was heading down to Wellesley, Mass, which is, basically like Soviet Russia, and I changed lanes and didn't signal, so Mass Stady pulled me over, and I was like, oh shit, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm dressed as Trump, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out. Law enforcement loves me. The cops love me. We are going to allow our police to have nuclear weapons when I get in there, okay? We have so many the Moab. How about the Moab? That was a beautiful bomb. It stands for the Melania of all bombs because it was beautiful. But so the cop, same deal. The cop rolls the window down. He goes, you know why I'm pulling you over? I said, was I going too fast? He said, you didn't signal. And he said, if you're dressed like Donald Trump, you're going to get out of this ticket, but I need to record you doing the impression for my guys back at the station. So I'm like, absolutely, man. So I kind of did the same bit with it. I said, I love our police, especially state troopers. You guys dress so beautifully. And if I wasn't mistaken, I would say your stormtrooper outfits are straight out of the Third Reich of Germany. They really are. And this guy was rolling. He was a younger guy. He was actually just in the military, and then he became a Mass State Trooper. And he was a really nice guy. He laughed, so we had a great moment. And he sent me on my way to Wellesley, and I did the gig. It was really a cool moment.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff. Yeah.
So if you don't want to get killed by the police or get a ticket, dress like Trump when you're driving. Just do it. I love our cops, our beautiful cops.
He does. The Benevolent Association endorsed him.
They endorsed him, yeah. They're like a fringe cop association.
Yeah.
They're tough.
They're tough guys.
Tough. T-U-F-F, tough.
So
no, but I love the cops. I love the police.
Oh, of course.
What happens here in town, Mike?
The freaking police salute him and say, Mr. President.
Yeah, that happens.
It's
real.
good stuff, man. Oh,
and there I am in cartoon form as Trump. I do the voice for Trump. Has anyone seen the cartoons that I do for Fusion?
good stuff.
It's fun. So I get a script, and I record it on an app on my phone and send it in, and then about a few days later, a cartoon appears. And in October of last year, Fusion TV flew me to their headquarters in Miami to record Dreaming of the Whitest Christmas, which was really cool. That's Barack Obama in an apparition form, because he's a ghost, okay? He's a ghost. He's a gay, transsexual, Muslim socialist who was born on Mars, okay? He was. I had my people look into it, and quite frankly, he shouldn't have been president. He should not have been president. There's Trump sleeping.
Kind of looks like Eric a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, they kind of modeled it
I got you.
after my frame. Yeah.
I got you. But yeah, like Eric was saying earlier, it's really hard to go through a minute of a day and not do his voice.
I know, not thinking about him.
Yeah, because it bleeds over into every impression, and it really just bleeds over into everyday lexicon. I mean, you're talking to your boss, and I don't think that's a good. That's actually a terrible idea.
I think that's a terrible idea. I would never do that. That's really bad. Bad. Sad.
So we all do it. We all do. It's part of the catharsis, you know. Whether you love or hate him, there's no denying him.
No, you can't.
There's no denying how strong he is.
He's a sensation.
The side part of his hair looks like ramen crispy noodles. It's like, have you ever seen like, it's like a golden retriever with like nice crispy noodles on the side. I think it looks good.
It's actually my hair. Go ahead, Paul. Go ahead. It's actually really my hair.
It's really my hair.
He loves it.
Yeah. You happen to think he's kind of cute, right?
I think he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
There's something there, right? There's definitely something there. I don't know. There's something there.
All right, so we want to end on an epic story. A relative of ours in Newfoundland, Canada, back in the day, Captain William Jackman was a commander of a sealing vessel up in Newfoundland near St. John's Bay. And the legend goes that he spotted a distressed ship that had collided with another ship, and there was 27 people aboard. And he actually swam back and forth and rescued them. Initially, he rescued 11 people. And then the people that were with him tied a rope around his waist, and he swam back 16 more times, rescuing every single person that was on the ship. So that's a cool story. And he was then sitting down, having a cup of tea with probably whiskey in it. And they said, there's someone else. There's one more person. So he swam back out and rescued the last person, which was a attractive female. And the legend has it that she survived long enough to give him a kiss before she died.
Wow.
It's probably not true.
Yes.
That part of it's probably. He's not a well-known hero, and he died. He was awarded by the British Royal Humane Society a silver medal, and then he died in 1877 at the age of 39. Some say the result of the strain his superhuman exertions placed on his heart. I mean, that's a strong man right there. I mean, he probably had a dozen eggs, a quart of whiskey, and some cod liver oil before noon. That was his regiment, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't download my app on my iPhone, you know. So
And they put him on a stamp up in Canada too, which was pretty neat. Captain Jackman's on a stamp.
yeah, good man, you know, not a soy boy.
No, definitely not soy.
So,
Definitely not cocked either.
So we dedicate this show to Captain William Jackman and all the Jackmans, all of our family, the Culleton family, and our lovely cousin Bob. His mother was my grandmother's sister. So, good times. It's been a lot of fun. We really appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully we'll see you at Harlow's afterwards.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Tremendous stuff. You people, beautiful. Look at these people. Yeah.